Staying in Leon County, the ethics complaint against the owner of Somo Walls has been dismissed. Bugra Demerol sits on a subcommittee of the Community Redevelopment Agency. The CRA recently approved $30,000 to fund a mural at Somo Walls. Demerol did share his conflict of interest and did not vote. The ethics board found the board he is on does not make final decisions. Former Mayor Dot Inman Johnson filed that ethics complaint. Today, she expressed her disappointment in the dismissal and suggested those public funds would be better used for other projects in Frenchtown and the South Side. Demerol also replying, expressing his appreciation for the ethics board's decision. You can read both statements right now online at WCTV.tv.